Sweet. Well, Breach 1002, how about we go ahead and dive into things? But as folks keep joining, please do continue adding your name and your organizational affiliation in the chat. Um, Very excited to be here today. This is a bit of a different direction than we've gone with our prior tourism meetings. We're excited today to open with a guest presentation from Cassandra with Hipcamp, and to talk more about what it means to have a Hipcamp, what Hipcamp is, and what our collaboration with them is. After that, so we expect that'll take about the first half of our meeting today. From there, we have a few more updates from the Ohio Riverway side of things, specifically related to tourism, including some next steps and direction for this tourism committee. Um, I see though that we have Mary and Cassie on. Would you all like to introduce yourselves as co-chairs of the group? I know Noelle couldn't make it today, but I'll hand it over to you all real quick.
Go ahead, Cassie. Well, she's on mute. Go ahead.
Cassie Hurst, Meet NKY, that's the Northern Kentucky Convention and Visitors Bureau. Proud to be a co-chair with Mary and Noel, and we're happy everybody could make it today.
Mary Allen, Vice Mayor of the Village of New Richmond, and I'm the Ohio Vice Chair of the board, ORW board. And again, I'm happy to serve with Cassie and Noel. We've been doing this for a while, and I'm glad all of you could join us today.
Perfect. Thank you both for all of your leadership here. I also want to give Jess from our team a chance to introduce herself. She is the name you have been seeing in your email inboxes, and help staff all of this work. So, Jess.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am Jessica and I am the manager with Ohio Riverway. And I'm based in Cincinnati, but yeah, I love traveling to all of your river towns. So if you see me, say hi.
Sweet. All right. Well, Cassandra, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you for a little bit of context of how we got here. Um, One of the things we hear the most from folks recreating on the river, is that they need places to camp, right? Whether that's a long distance paddler or a long distance cyclist. If they're camping, they need places to camp, particularly the paddlers. And Jessica from our team had the idea of, well, what if we partnered with Hipcamp in some way to highlight the campsites along the Ohio River? We did not have any sort of connection to Hipcamp at that point, but we took that idea and started just talking it over with different folks. And we met a man named Paul Sanford with the Wilderness Society at a conference. And he made the introduction for us. So shout out to the Wilderness Society for introducing us to you, Cassandra. But with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you for your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks, Forrest. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jessica. Thanks, everyone at the Ohio Riverway for having me here this morning and for inviting Hipcamp into this community. I'm thrilled to be a part of the wonderful work y'all are doing. We'll see if I can share my screen successfully in the year 2026. You'll have to let me know if you can see that.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, isn't it nice when it works? Okay. So my name is Cassandra. I support government and community relations at Hipcamp. I've been with Hipcamp for almost a decade, and I've spent my career at the intersection of outdoor recreation and access, land conservation, and rural economic development. So really excited to be with this group today at kind of the confluence of all of those things. Just a quick outline of how we'll spend our time together. I'll start just by sharing some context on where we Hipcamp sit in the outdoor recreation industry. I'll introduce you to Hipcamp, share some information about the landowners that we partner with and how our platform works. And then I want to talk through how we work with nonprofits, land trusts, trails, states, counties, townships to get more people outside, to diversify income for landowners, and to drive economic growth in the communities that we operate in. So I'll jump right in. The outdoor recreation industry and demand for new places to get outside is growing in the United States. We saw record participation in 2024, more than 181 million people participating in outdoor recreation. That's more than half of the US population, and it represents 10 consecutive years of growth in this participant base. I don't think that will surprise anybody here. We're seeing offices of outdoor recreation be created all over the country, and there are really great and fantastic investments in recreation infrastructure being made as well. And this record participation has really meant record economic output, with the outdoor recreation industry generating more than 1.2 trillion with a T dollars in economic output in 2024. So this is really fantastic. Hipcamp's mission is to get more people outside. We want more people in the outdoors connecting with nature. We know outdoor recreation has the power to drive sustainable economic growth while protecting and growing access to the benefits of the outdoors for everyone. But we also know that the volume of campers is affecting the experience and impacting the environment. And in the United States, we're not positioned to benefit fully from the influx of new recreationalists into this space. It can be hard to get reservations. Campsites along trails can be scarce. Campgrounds and trailheads are more crowded than ever. And demand for the outdoors, and specifically for camping, is really outpacing the infrastructure we have to support it. We are in need of solutions. And I like to think that Hipcamp can be one. So Hipcamp is the #1 app to find and book campsites. We partner with private landowners to create and advertise new and unique places for people to stay, camp, and get outside. From traditional private campgrounds and RV parks to farm stays, low impact tent and RV sites, cabins and camping structures like yurts and canvas tents. The sites that are listed on Hipcamp are located on working ranches, on farms, on state lands, on municipal properties, on property that's owned and managed by land trusts. I like to think there's something for everyone on our platform. And we work with landowners in all 50 states, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. It's a model that you may already be familiar with. Landowners sign up with Hipcamp as hosts. They create an online profile for their property that shows the area available for campers. And those campers sign up with Hipcamp, which is free. They search by location and they book on our website and mobile app. And on the landowner side, hosts have full control of their availability and pricing. They're able to collect all applicable taxes, which I'll talk more about in just a moment. They're paid weekly for the stays booked through our platform. It's free to list. We do take a commission, and that commission covers liability insurance, property protection, credit card transaction fees, marketing, and 24/7 support. We also offer tools for calendar management for landowners who may list across multiple platforms, as more and more people do these days. And a quick note on the taxes, we can collect all applicable taxes, occupancy tax, sales tax, through our platform. In some places, we collect and remit on behalf of all hosts automatically. I know we do that in Kentucky, for example. And it comes down to local laws and sometimes to preferences. So we have voluntary collection agreements in place, for example, with a number of jurisdictions. And that enables us to collect all applicable taxes and remit directly on behalf of all of our hosts in that area, not because it's required, but because it's something we've agreed to do to streamline the process for the treasurer tax collector and for the landowners that we partner with. And I'll just a quick note is that occupancy tax applies to these types of private tent and RV sites in many, but not all places. So I think it should apply everywhere. And if you have questions about whether your local tax laws cover these types of campsites, I would love to look into that with you. So give me a shout. Looking at what landowners need to do to get started, I'm sure that's a question on your minds. How can people in your communities take advantage of this and start to think about hosting campers on their own properties? Well, unless you're welcoming guests to an existing campground, you probably don't have a lot set up on your property. Maybe you've always dreamed about hosting campers. Maybe you host friends and family from time to time. For most of the folks we partner with, it's a totally new concept. So we really recommend that landowners start with what they have. All a landowner needs to get started is a flat spot where somebody can pitch a tent or park an RV. Self-contained RV sites make it easy for guests to bring everything they need and take everything with them when they go. We see a lot of farmers start there just because it's such a low barrier to entry. For tent sites, Hipcamp does require that landowners make a portable toilet or access to some other type of restroom facility available. And landowners often add amenities as they gain experience and as they have money to reinvest into their campsites. We do ask all hosts to do their research before welcoming their first guests. Like with taxes, every jurisdiction has unique rules from setback to neighbor notification requirements. And even if an area doesn't require that a landowner notify their neighbors, we still recommend that our hosts reach out to them and consider how their hosting activities could impact their community. For example, shared roads, increased traffic, view sheds, parking. Those are some of the things that come up in our conversations most often. We also ask interested landowners to look at their property as if they've never been there before and think about, like, what do I really need to communicate to set my guests up for success? Where can they go? Where can't they go? Where does my property end and my neighbors begin? What are the rules that I need to have in place to make sure everything goes smoothly? For example, maybe I, as a host, have a dog and I need to think about whether I want to allow guests to bring their dog. Something like that, in retrospect, it feels simple and obvious, but if you're just getting started, it can be easy to overlook. And that's where Hipcamp comes in too. We're here to help folks think through all of these questions and set their listings and rules up really clearly. More than half of the folks we work with globally are welcoming campers to working lands, so farms, ranches, wineries, orchards, and they're using our platform for what we call camping-based agritourism. Camping is a critical source of revenue for a lot of the landowners we partner with. It's a tool, one of many, that farmers, ranchers, landowners are using to generate supplemental income, pay property taxes, make mortgage payments, and keep small businesses economically viable. And I'll spend just a moment highlighting two hosts just to kind of root us in what this looks like in practice. So this is Willett Family Farm. Jeremy has long been a host on Hipcamp. He has one campsite and sells on-site goods and produce in Maryland. And hosting campers has given the Willets the opportunity to sell products directly to guests, which has really increased their revenue potential. Jeremy shared that their on-site sales often exceed their camping reservation fees, which is pretty awesome. And they were able to use the data from those sales to secure a grant from the USDA several years ago. So for them, hosting campers has enabled them to increase their production on their farm. And it's also turned their area into something of a destination. They hooked up with a brewery down the road, and campers now walk there for dinner from their campsite, which is just a great example of how you can bring a number of businesses in an area together to create a really unique experience in a community that might otherwise be off the beaten path for tourism. And I'll also just highlight this is Heritage Farms in Ohio. George and Carol host 15 sites on a fifth generation, 115-acre farm in Peninsula. And this is a Christmas tree farm. So it has a longer off season than most agricultural operations, and agritourism activities like camping keep revenue coming in the other 11 months out of the year. So I like to share these examples because this is about recreation and outdoor access, but it's also about bringing long-term landowners into the conversation and creating opportunities for them to participate in and benefit from their growing tourism and outdoor recreation economies locally. So I always get really excited about that, about helping folks understand how investments in recreation infrastructure, trails near their homes can be a benefit to them as well as to visitors. And we're really just getting started. There is a lot of landowner interest. Camper demand for this type of recreation is high across the country, and it's growing. Camping on private land, rural recreation, low impact camping, on farm camping, every area has a slightly different name for it. It's filling a consumer need for more places to camp. And this is especially true in popular and increasingly expensive areas and along trails like the Ohio Riverway, like the Mountains to Sea Trail in North Carolina. These are trails that cross through areas with limited overnight accommodations, where hikers, paddlers, cyclists are dependent on the hospitality of towns and private landowners to make their trips possible. And these activities are driving real economic impact for local landowners and real economic growth in these rural communities. We know that hip campers spend more than $350 per person per trip once they've arrived at their destination. So there's a lot of potential here if we invest. And, over the last year or so, we've been building out what we call collections to highlight camping opportunities along different trails. So the Appalachian Trail on the East Coast, the Bay Area Ridge Trail in California. We use our mapping software to build out road trip recommendations for fall foliage, to build out car-free camping itineraries along Metro North and Amtrak lines, to share bike packing options along the East Coast Greenway, and the moment you've all been waiting for campsites along the Ohio Riverway. So we've been really excited about this opportunity, and really excited to think about what we can do. When we partner with a tourism bureau, a chamber of commerce, a trail, we're able to build out social media assets. We can share information about our partnership on social media and build out resources that partner organizations like the Ohio Riverway can use and share as well. And we can market our partnership to our community, which is more than 7 million registered campers. And we can feature information on our website, which pulls in 200 million visits annually. And we can also build out collections that really highlight all of the campsites listed along a certain line to make it easier to plan a trip along a 308-mile national water trail. So another piece of this is getting the word out not only to the camping side of our community, but also to landowners about the opportunity to support a trail, to earn extra income, to participate in their outdoor recreation industry locally. We really want there to be more properties open for recreational camping along the Ohio Riverway, to support outdoor access and overnight trips along the trail, and to bring more visitors into your towns and your communities. I will pause there. I know I'm a fast talker. I think this was recorded, so if you have to watch it back, I understand. And I'd love to answer any questions you may have. Would love to talk about how we might be able to work together to better support overnight camping along the trail. This is my contact information. You can reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to connect one-on-one. And if you want to work together to think about how to share information about hosting with Hipcamp on your website or feature existing hosts in your community who offer places to stay already, we would love to work with all of you on that as well. So I will pause there. Thanks again for having me and looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you so, so much, Cassandra. And I am going to go ahead and pause our.
So don't hesitate to give me a shout.
Perfect. Sweet. And we will send out some notes from today's meeting, and then that will include I've seen it before online, like a 101 in terms of starting your own hip camp. I know for a lot of you all won't be opening up your own backyard. It'd be other private property owners in your communities. But we'll send out where folks can start. So
Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you so much. Good deal. Well, let's keep on plugging along. For the rest of the meeting, we really just have a few updates from the Ohio River Way, and then we can have an open discussion at the end of it. I don't think our updates will take a full half hour though. So to start, we are in planning for our next travel guide. That's going to be in another 2-year guide that lasts from 2027 to 2028. We want to have it printed in early 2027, so that it is ready for the beginning of the year events like the boat shows that we were just at. Um, because of that, you'll be hearing from us in the next month or two regarding, ad sales as we plug along here. But I know Jess from our team is already working on what are those stories going to look like. So we'll be in touch regarding ad sales. Also, if you have any, story ideas, you're welcome to share them. I can't guarantee we'll use them, but we are always looking for, I'm forgetting the mnemonic, but what's the weirdest, most unique things in all of our communities that we can highlight that is really going to be an interesting story. So, Jess, is there anything I'm missing there?
No, but feel free to email me with any ideas or something new in your town that you would like featured. Again, can't guarantee, but would love to consider it. And I'll put my email in the chat.
Perfect. Um, Sweet. So there's that. We will keep in touch. As a reminder, our travel guide for 2025 and 2026, we printed 80,000 copies. That was distributed to 93 state parks, 18 interstate welcome centers, and to locations throughout, roughly 40 river communities. I can't guarantee they're still in all those spots, because folks have been picking them up, but we have about 20,000 copies left that we are continuing to distribute, and that we will be taking along the way during our challenge to replenish all the stocks in the communities. But we also distribute the guide at state fairs. I know we were at the Ohio and Kentucky State Fair. We were at the Cincinnati and Louisville boat shows with the travel guide, and we distributed them at River Roots and occasionally other festivals as well. So thank you all so much for your investments that have made that travel guide possible. Awesome. Jess, I know you had a bullet point on America's 250 there. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, we've mentioned this in some other, coalition meetings, but if your town is doing anything in celebration of America's 250th, I know that the Ohio Riverway has, or the Ohio River has had, so much of a role in shaping American history. So we would love to know about those events. And yeah, please either email me, send them to me, or upload them on our events page. And we would love to create like a collective source to let people know all of the amazing events happening along the Ohio Riverway for this. And then also just to segue into events, I'll link it in the chat. But if you have any events in your town, please upload them to our website. It's a really quick, easy form. Not only do we go there and we, the Ohio Riverway, use it to promote in our newsletter or social media, but it's a great way for us to know what's happening in the towns. And then we can then go set up a booth and participate and kind of, go to your town specifically for whatever's happening. So just a gentle reminder about that resource as well. And I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Sometimes we try to add stuff on our own, but honestly, we don't always know of everything unless you'll tell us. So we use it not just for having it on our website for folks to find, but in our newsletter and as we figure out where to have booths throughout the year, as Jess said. So sweet. And shout out to Sophie, the ones that Sophie approves all those and also tracks down some additional events. So thank you, Sophie.
Yes, so if there's any ever like, I don't know, if you, I don't know, have a typo or something, if you email the info email, I'll answer that and I'll get it fixed for you. So no worries if there's any typos or mistakes, I'm always there to edit them. So thank you all for submitting them.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Last thing, and this is a conversation we've had with Cassie, Mary, and Noel, is we try to figure out, what's next for the tourism committee. We're so grateful that you all have engaged. We also understand that our tourism professionals are some of the most busy people that we work with all sorts of stakeholders, and you all always have a lot going on. I think it's appropriate, we think it's appropriate for us to step back and try to prioritize with you all what are the most important things you would like to see from the Ohio Riverway in the realm of tourism. And that's important because we are continuing to pursue funding opportunities for tourism, and we want to make sure that when an opportunity comes up, we already have written priorities from you all that we can try to fund. So, to provide two examples of things we've already applied for, we applied for a marketing and communications grant through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for $875,000 that would fund a branding and marketing campaign focused because of what the funding was for, specifically on boating and angling, which included paddlers while angling, but not paddlers if you weren't angling, just because of that particular grant. In our focus, we came up with the idea of a Big River Ready media and marketing campaign, emphasizing that if you're going on the Ohio River, there are different safety considerations than if you were, going on a lake, which is one of the issues we see with boaters that put on the river and don't understand that they need to check X, Y, and Z conditions or how to do that. So I'm not hopeful with that opportunity. I don't believe they've announced anyone there. Who knows if they will? But we applied, and that was a helpful exercise for us. Also applied to ARC, Arise, for $90,000 in planning funds, including a marketing study. I'm hopeful there. We have passed the eligibility screening for that application. We've had to submit a pre-application, and we'll find out in the coming month or so if we've been invited to submit a full application. But that is not implementation funding. It's just $90,000 to help us pull together a branding and marketing campaign, the planning for that. So in any case, those are just examples of what we're trying to do. But, as we submitted those, our thoughts was it would be great if we had talked with you all beforehand to understand your priorities. So we'd like that to be the focus of our next meeting with you all. We'll send out some draft priorities. We'll also have a way to take in new priorities from you, and hopefully we'll rank those. And it might be in a Google form that we send out, but we also want it to be a discussion. I'll open it up. Cassie, Mary, Jess, am I missing anything there? Did I misstate any of that? Okay. Sweet.
Wait, Forrest, was there something about a documentary you wanted to mention? I just saw
Yes.
that note.
So
Okay.
two things. Well, so I want to shout out the challenge. And Mary from our team is not on, but Mary's been organizing all of that. As you may have heard, our challenge this year, our big paddle in those 30-foot canoes, is going to go 488 and a half miles from Huntington, West Virginia, all the way to Evansville, Indiana, over 23 days. You're welcome to join us if you'd like to block off your May. A couple things there. One is that we will be staying at several hip camps. I'm excited about that. There's some pretty cool hip camps along the way. It's one way we have genuinely used to find where we can camp. Also, this is a tentative, as soon as we hop off, I am getting on a call with the National Park Service. They have suggested sending a documentary filmmaker from the National Park Service on the entire challenge. So it's not 100%, but I'm hopeful. It's their idea. So if that happens, we will absolutely tell you. The challenge, as you know, is when we get the most attention. So last year, in the 2 months around the challenge, just on Facebook, which is our largest platform, 100,000 unique accounts saw what we were doing. So I know there are certainly things that go more viral, but for us, the challenge is when we get the most attention, and we are so excited that there might be a documentary filmmaker on board. And to answer the question in the chat, we welcome some one-day additions. So, community stakeholders, elected officials, press absolutely can join for one day. For our paddlers, we've asked that they join for at least a week at a time. So I'm sure we can accommodate you if you reach out to us to join us for a day. And we also have a publicly posted, let me put this in the chat and we'll send it out in the notes. Our float plan is a bit more detailed this year, and a bit easier to read. So if you'd like to join us, glad to talk one-on-one, but this also shows a lot of the details of where we're staying, where we're eating. There are a few more restaurants we need to nail down, and the times that we expect to be at those meals. So if you're curious when we'll be in your community, there's that. Sweet. Um, we don't have a firm deadline to answer the questions, chat. We would like folks to really apply within the next week, though. Really the next 6 days, because we have our first orientation meeting next Wednesday. So after that, we're going to review and see if we want to keep letting folks apply. So really the next 6 days is the time to apply if you know anyone that wants to join. And last update from us. It's been a big week from the Ohio River Way. We have an incredible team of volunteers, incredible team of contractors. Um, I have been the only full-time employee until Monday when Molly Pope joined our team as deputy director. Molly, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone. I am so excited as it's been a busy week so far, but this is my first call with one of the committees. So it's so exciting to see how engaged everyone is and all the exciting work being done. But I am so honored to be the second staff of the Ohio River Way, and I'm just so excited to work with the team and all of you to continue lifting up our river towns and getting people out on the water and on the trails. So thank you for having me and I'm excited to learn from all of you.
Thank you, Molly. And Molly's role with us is going to be a bit more internally facing, and my role will shift to be a bit more externally facing. So just a little context to what that's going to look like for
Hey,
us.
Forrest, could you and or Molly just share a bit about her background, which is very
Molly, I'll
strong?
let you do that.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, my background is more biology and conservation focused. So, my previous role was managing the Thomas More University Biology Field Station. In that role, I coordinated our laboratory operations, so drinking water protection and the husbandry of aquatic animals. I helped with our STEM outreach program, so K-12 students, environmental education, getting kids outside. And then I also assisted with the overall operations and maintenance of the facilities. And then, in addition to that work, I also work closely with the Ohio River Basin Alliance. So, if you all are familiar with the Ohio River Basin or the Ohio River Restoration Program Act, currently working its way through Congress to authorize hundreds of millions of dollars annually to fund restoration efforts and recreation infrastructure as well in the Ohio River Basin, the entire watershed, land and water. Um, so yeah, in this role, I'll be continuing working with the Ohio River Basin Alliance to hopefully just bring more attention and funding to our region to fund all the great work everyone is doing. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited to bring my background in operations and maintenance to the Ohio River Way. Um, yeah,
Well,
so thank you again for having me.
and Molly, you've done everything. You also worked for River Roots,
Mhm.
and you created, well, I'll let you, the Concert for Conservation, at least manage that.
Sure. Yeah. So I assisted in coordinating the volunteer efforts for America's River Roots Festival this fall in the greater Cincinnati area. And then, yeah, one of my projects at my previous role was starting a music festival fundraiser on the Ohio River. at the biology field station. So if anyone's interested in checking that event out, it'll still be happening. But again, just excited to learn more about all the other amazing river events happening, and lifting up everyone's efforts as well. But I'm humbled to have this role. And like I said, I'm telling Forrest I'm a sponge for the first few weeks. I'm soaking in, I'm learning, I'm absorbing. So yeah, please feel free to send any resources. I really am here to learn everything about your towns and how we can help support you.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, let's open it up. Are there any updates from anyone? Any other questions? Well, I don't need to stay on if there aren't any more questions or comments, but you all always have events going on.
Yeah,
Rich, how are
who's got really cool events coming up in the next 3 months?
Hey, Brewster, this is Catfish.
Hey, Catfish.
Hey, down at Carriage House Farm, is it March 14th? The Great Owl Adventure Race? March 14th. So that's an orienteering race put on by Great Owl Adventure. So it's a 12-hour wayfinding, and it's hiking, paddling, and cycling. And you can find more information at lostbridgebeverage.com or Great Owl Adventure Race.
Catfish, can you put that in the chat and then also make sure you post that on our events page on the website? That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep.
So, Jim, you and I bumped into each other not long ago at an event about the Wildwater project in New Albany. Well, it's more in Clarksville.
Yeah.
Could you share a bit more about that?
Yeah. So Origin Park is a private park development being shepherded by a nonprofit conservancy. So it will be a public park, but not publicly owned. It'll be privately owned by this nonprofit. It's a 430-acre urban park project reclaiming some very abused land, much of it on the wet side of the flood wall and levee. Um, the entire park will be designed to be climate adaptive, but as a nonprofit conservancy, they won't have a tax stream for revenue to maintain the park. So they are including other developments in the park that will create revenue. The event center which is called the Vista, have a great view of the river and downtown Louisville. Will be opening up this spring, and the next project after that is on top of two of the landfills within this section of land. They will install about a 30 acre. Does that sound right, Forrest?
Yeah,
30-ish acres.
big.
Yeah. Wild Water is the name of the project, but it'll be an adventure recreation complex that will have recreation and competitive paddling channels, as well as zip lines, climbing walls, um, lawns for music, restaurant, a bar, things like that. So they're using commercial entertainment and other opportunities like that to create the revenue necessary to maintain the non-revenue producing parts of the park, which will be a reclamation of, like I said, some pretty abused land over the last 150 years.
Mhm. Which, I mean, it's I feel like it's kind of hard to understand without seeing like videos or images of what it's like. But picture a whitewater course that's artificially made for paddlers and for well, really for rafting and for kayaking. So not canoes, but rafting and kayaking, and that it'll attract the super enthusiasts to come live in that region, which is really relevant to what we're doing since we're all about paddlers as well. I also climb, and I thought it was pretty cool that they're going to put climbing towers arched over pools I don't know if you've seen those sort of videos before, but that stuff where, when you fall into a pool. But
And they've hired the top whitewater course designer in the country, Scott Shipley, who did three others around the country, including the one in Oklahoma City, believe it or not. And he's going to be their designer, so it's a big deal. It's
also a
really cool.
hub for swiftwater rescue training for search and rescue teams. So, because it's a really hard thing to train for, and they can just turn off the water if they get into a tricky situation. So,
It does sound like the U.S. National Whitewater Center outside of Charlotte. There's components of it that are very similar.
mhm.
Very much modeled based on that, especially the business model.
See, good deal. What else is going on? Ali, I don't know if we've met before. What's happening in Warwick County?
Hi, yeah, my name's Allie Oliver. I'm actually new to my position here in Wirt County, which is in southern Indiana, close to Evansville. So this is the first time actually that I'm learning that the challenge is going to end in Evansville, the Riverway Challenge. So I'm going to have to look more into that because that's our neighboring city. But anyways, so I'm still kind of jumping in and learning about what's going on this year in our county. I am our tourism director. I am kind of the sole and only employee right now for our organization because we're starting something new. Jim, I think, I maybe have seen you in some of our maybe CERMAC meetings or something. So I have a little bit of a familiar face with Jim. But yeah, so I don't know if I have anything major to report right now. I'm still learning the way here, but I'm happy to just kind of jump in on this call and learn more about Ohio River Way.
Sweet.
So thank you for having it and for inviting me.
Thank you so much for joining. What are the communities in Warwick County, the river towns?
So Newburgh would be our
Okay.
town that's located directly on the Ohio River, and it's a beautiful spot. A lot of kind of boutique shopping, some nice restaurants, a lot of history there. An old lock and dam as well, and there are some places to stay. No camping necessarily in that area, so I was excited to learn about Hipcamp, but I don't know if it would apply
Yeah.
directly to that river town. But you never know, something else in our county. But yeah, so I believe maybe the manager for the town of Newburgh has maybe been in touch with you already. His name is Chris Cook. If not, I will get with him and maybe I can connect and we can just kind of learn more about how Newburgh could play some sort of part, as a trail town or whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're on. We would like to have our ending celebration in Newburgh.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yes.
Wonderful.
Well, that's the very last night of the 23 days.
Yeah.
Um, so we'd like to do that. We had hoped to stay in the houses with the lock house.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
Lockmaster cottages.
yes.
Yes, yes,
It
yes.
So we'd gone back and forth. I'm not certain what the hiccup was, but I think those are actually booked by other folks at this time. So I
Mm,
don't think we have a place to stay in Newburgh at the moment.
okay,
We'll be
okay.
somewhere. If you have any recommendations, we'll take them. I know Mary from our team's been working on it, but the last time I talked with her, we did not have a place in Newburgh that night.
So
So
we can stay at
Okay.
your house, right, Allie?
Well, I don't live in Newburgh. Our county is a pretty rural county. Newburgh is one of our more like condensed areas outside of that little downtown river area. Where I live in the county is about 45 minutes away. So I don't know if you want to drive all the way out there, but you're more than welcome. I have 5 acres.
well,
Yeah.
sweet.
Um, but
Well,
yeah,
thanks.
so no, let's definitely connect more on that, for us. And I do believe I need to get with Chris, who manages the town of Newburgh. He mentioned something to me about having some discussions for a celebration in Newburgh. I
Yeah,
just didn't understand what
yeah.
he meant by that.
I think
Yeah.
Mary from our team's talked with Chris. I will also
Yeah.
flag we are new to the community in Newburgh, but we had one paddler apply to join us from Newburgh, Melinda
Okay.
Mitchell.
Okay.
Um, I
Okay.
don't know if you know Melinda, but we'll have a Newburgh. Well,
The name sounds familiar, so I might.
I think she's a bit of a community activist. So she
Okay.
just applied to us out of the blue and plans to join the entire trip. So
Okay, that's wonderful.
yeah, we're
Okay.
very excited.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, I look forward to discussing
Mhm.
that more then. That sounds
Perfect.
wonderful.
Perfect. Good deal. Rick, how are things in Ironton? If you're talking, you're muted.
Yeah, I was just telling everybody I sent the text. The ice jam broke free yesterday, and the river's back to flowing as it should be. So winter's over, Brewster. You little rat down there in Florida enjoying the warm weather while we're up here freezing to death. But now it's back, and the barges are moving again, so life is good.
Perfect. Sweet. Good, good, good. Well, it was good to see you last week. Awesome. All right. Well, we're coming up on the end. If there's not a last word, I'll say thank you to you all for joining, and we have another meeting on the books in 2 months. So we'll send out notes from this and keep in touch with an agenda for the next meeting and the coming probably a month or so before we send out an agenda. I will flag, I just shouted out Rick. We're planning to do our summit this year in Ironton, so we're finalizing the dates and working with Rick on that. But thank you so much, Rick, for making sure that flagged Ironton is an opportunity. So send out more information on that soon. Yeah, party barge. Thank you for organizing that party barge. Anyways, I think that's it. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.